Scotty once again, and we're going to talk about three different subject matters that, well, this channel is known for: fittings, repairs, and reviews. All next in What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Welcome back to the Golf Shop. Jim McCleary here, and this is What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Why What's in My Drawers Golf Talk? Because golf club makers like me, old timers, are big time pack rats, and it's about what's in my drawers in the shop. All right, and all why? So we can talk about golf club repairs, reviews, and fittings, all so your scores can go low. Now, number one, we'll give a nod to Scotty winning. Didn't see that one coming based on where he was at the beginning. And dude caught fire, and then again at the turn almost lost it, and then apparently John Rahm failed. Yeah, he failed. He faltered, and then the rest of the group just basically hung on by doing even par, and he just kept going. So good for Scotty. Even with there's never a dry moment in the PGA with the driver issue, and but it made for good television, at least for the first 9 holes, and then waiting to see what kind of miracle Scotty would pull off, hitting the ball left on everything. I mean, that was pretty good. So here we go. So there's that one. As far as number one, I want to go over a few things. Number one, did you guys see the video I put out? I was just so excited that so what's happened is my back has been out of whack for several months, and I've been making a golf swing that has been trying to protect it, and it became pathetic to the point where I couldn't even hit a driver. And it was funny because I went and I bought a mini driver, or I got a mini driver from Callaway, just because I was hitting my 2 hybrid or my 3 hybrid as far as I was hitting the driver, if not further, only because I was making good contact with it. Then I went and saw the chiropractor and again, and everything kind of snapped into place. And just before leaving on a trip, I took a few swings, and it was like, oh, there it is, a swing. And then I came back and started hitting to make sure it wasn't a fluke. And I decided to turn on the camera and start talking again. And you know what? To be honest with you, golf was getting to be bad because I hate swinging I hate swinging poorly. Bad scores will come and go, but just swinging poorly, just wanting to make good contact, right? And I just wasn't. And every swing was a fight, and golf was not fun. Well, in this last weekend, here we are. And just to make sure I've been doing it, I've been hitting 20, 30 golf balls a day now to get back into it. In fact, they're littered all over my screen here. In order to make sure I don't lose it. All right. And so part of the review part of it, if you guys watched the video, we compared the Wilson to the Callaway, the new models, right? The new Dynapower and the new Elite. And what it came down to was, this one holds the Denali in red paint, and the other one holds the Denali in charcoal paint. The Wilson one was 80 grams, where the Callaway was 70 grams for stiff, and it was 10 grams less for the regular flex for both models, so 70 and 60. Now, and then if you watched it, we found out that this guy came and checked in a lot more flexible, which has never happened before. And that could have been what it was. It could have been the weight, but just because it was a little more flexible, this thing actually still hit within 3 yards of the Callaway. And it would have been just as tight if I hadn't pulled one shot. So they're very, very close together. And I've had some other folks hit it, and they're just like, wow, didn't expect that one. Very, very solid. And so if you're a price point kind of person, 3 yards, save a few bucks, that might be the way to go. If you're more about, you want to be compact, have a really good feeling, then the Callaway would be the way to go. And it sets up very, very nice. Now, the next question I'm sure is burning is, did it beat my gamer? I didn't even bring it out as part of the test, but I did hit it later, and I was just creaming the thing. Now, what's it come down to? I think it really comes down to the shaft in this particular instance. because it's the transmission, and the transmission was working, right? The the slightly more stiff. And when I'm swinging well, and Bob, if he's watching, can tell that I can really late release, and I can really have that negative angle of attack into a ball, and make it go. And I just haven't been doing that. And so all of a sudden it came back. I'm much more happier now that I can get it done. But I'm just so happy about it. So now we're going to move on and did the hybrids. I'm not going to test any fairways. We're just going to go straight into the drivers since we have so many drivers to look at, and that'll be another review. I think certainly the driver reviews will be fun. But again, that's only part of the channel. The other parts are repairs, right? And this week we had a plethora of repairs. In fact, we got one that came in today I wanted to show you. And you go, I gotta fix this grip. And it's on a putter, obviously. I gotta fix this grip. Well, Jim, what's wrong with the grip? Well, if you look at this, it stops right about here. So what that is that's basically a rookie error. Okay, that's what it comes right down to. It's a rookie error, and what happens is when you have it in your either one of a couple of things may have happened, and this is all speculative. But after doing this for 20 plus years, you kind of get a knack of what can make it go wrong. So this is a what not to do, and number one in this is not using enough solvent. You go, Jim, I use air. Well, then good for you, but you still need a little something to get it started, and then you got to keep pushing, right? And now this one I'm assuming is going to have grip tape underneath of it. That's going to be an issue, but you got to use enough solvent. Don't be stingy with the solvent. It's better to have more than less in this particular application. Particularly this, I think this style grip kind of goes on tough. It goes on tight. Okay, and I put a few of these on, and they go on kind of tight. That's a good thing for stabilization, but it's a pain in the butt for installation. Hey, I just rhymed. Anyway, that's number one, not enough solvent. And then what happens is when you get all that solvent on there, you start getting in there, and it starts slowing down. And if you're new to it, you're like, oh wow, what happened? Am I at the end? Well, you don't know. I'm not at the end. If you go like this and you hold it right here and you try and it feels pretty solid until you do like that, and then all of a sudden it's not. And sometimes a panic happens, and you go, oh crap, am I in there? Well, by that time you're looking around, and the solvent evaporates pretty quick. Okay, and you got to push on. You got to keep pushing, push until you feel it bottom out, that shaft bottom out into the grip. That's number two, right? And getting it in there. Number three is you can get into there, and the club can slide in the grip. It'll slide like that, and all of a sudden you're not getting pushed on enough. And then another one, and the one I hate the most, and can be part of this one, is that this is a synthetic. All right, this is synthetic. Let's do it like that. All right, and what that means is there's an underlisting here. If you guys can see that, I'm trying to show. See that? This is rubber. This is synthetic. So that white rubber piece is an underlisting. Sometimes the underlistings are very thin, or they're very delicate, and they can get hooked up on the sharp edges of the end of the shaft and start peeling the thing back. And that's never a good day. You've just basically ruined a grip. Okay, so those are a couple of things. The other part is when you're installing it, a lot of people will try and grab it and just push it on like that. And that was the reason why these were invented, because it would just come squirting out the back, and it would ruin clothes and that kind of stuff. So in order to help with that, you put once you got this thing full, you get in here and you shake up the grip, you get the grip and you run it up and down there, and then you put your finger back up in there, get it situated on, and put it on there. And what that does, it creates just the ever so slight air pocket so that it can keep going and keep getting on. So in a day or two here, I've got to use a needle gun and try and get underneath this thing and get a lot of solvent underneath there, so I can get it turning and then push it on, and then hopefully to save the grip. Okay, there was that one. Third, and not final, but in fitting, again, if you guys watched the the video, I started using a new program. And just like anything else, when you go from Windows 10 to Windows 11, everybody growls about how piss poor it is because everything's in a new place and you got to learn something new. Growl, growl, growl. I know this because I do it too, right? As soon as you get comfortable and you know where everything's at and you can start flying around and be efficient in your program, what do? They change it. Why? Oh, it's always something for the better. No, it's not. And so now you got to go around and learn all these new things. Print gets smaller. Sometimes it gets bigger. Things move, and you're just like, really, give me a break. And same thing happened with this. And I didn't like it because it was showing a full club short. And after a few strategic phone calls with Flight Scope, the guys there in the tech room or in the techno area are just top notch. They got in there, ghosted around, got to see both programs. I'm getting rid of this ball. Got into both programs, and we figured out it was an environmental thing. I had it set for being like almost underwater in the new program and almost into the 3/4 of the way into the mountains on the other one. That's a little different, right? So once I got that, then it was a matter of figuring out how the program flows. That's tough, particularly in the middle of fittings, but that's the only way you're going to learn. And slowly but surely, what I'm doing is I am increasing my library of golf clubs that I pick during fittings. Now, I do have a few things I would, and they have a really good troubleshooting, we'll see, or suggestion block, and I've sent out one, and I'm getting ready to send another one in order to be kind of mimic the old one, or the we'll say the easy way of doing things from a fitter point of view. Now, if you're doing full swings and being an instructor and stuff like that, then you probably wouldn't ask for the things I'm asking for. But from a fitter's point of view, the stuff is pretty easy. So that's where we get. So there's our fitting, there's our repair, and there's our review. Now, what did I do this week? Well, we did quite a few things. I had a brand new Callaway set that we fit, and man, oh man, and it's basically a duplicate. The guy has a house here and has a house in Florida, and he liked it so well he wanted to have a duplicate. Well, he waited a little bit too long, so we had to go from a smoke to an elite, and the elite just turned out really nice. The guys did a good job. We cut it to size, put our grips on it, and that gentleman's ready to go. And then we did this one. We did a Wilson set, the Wilson Dynapower. Wilson Dynapowers with Modus 120 or 105s, and then you can see in the far area he went with a Wilson hybrid. He absolutely killed this one. And then at the nearest one with the black shaft, that was an Opus T grind. I think it was more of a weight thing than it was anything else. You get to look at it right here. There we go. And just turned out to be a good looking set. Used a new set of ferrules. They were double chrome, but they're thin chrome, not real thick chrome. So that turned out to be pretty good. Now onward and inward, you guys know the barbecue. I had time for barbecuing this weekend, so I got a set of we call country western ribs on the upper end, and some chicken on the bottom side. So I'm going to have some chicken salad for a while, or chicken sandwiches, and then some rib sandwiches, because I'll peel it off of there and put it on a bun. So that was pretty good. And we got to send a shout out to Mrs. McGolf. She got her knee operated on Thursday to have her address some meniscus tears, and old woman age has caught up to her, and she had some arthritis removed. The doctor thought she must have been in some terrible pain, because asked why she wasn't hobbling. I said, I don't know. And he showed me this, and it looked like there was this whole full layer of insulation on the top of her knee, and he went and cleaned that out. And she's traveling around like a trooper right now. Small walks, sit down, put some ice on it. Small walks, put some ice on it, that kind of thing. So, yeah, she's recovering. And with 2 incisions on the top of her knee, just like mine had, but she's getting around. So tomorrow the bandage comes off forever, and she should be good to go. All righty, last but not least, right, 2 things, Charlie. Here we go. Number 1, this one I just want to let everybody know. If anybody is into a very, very, very good bourbon, W.H. McBrayer batch number 5 is out, and he literally mails it to you. And I just opened up. He has another one called Cedarbrook. It's a wheater, and they're both outstanding. Right, the single barrel particularly, that thing was out of sight. All right, so what's in the glass today? What's in this guy? It's this one right there. Coal Pick single barrel. Look at that, pars and pours. That's the single barrel. Got that at the Owensboro Festival. It's a wheater from a southwest 2,700 acre farm in Kentucky. The guys were just super nice. It's a wheater too. You get the sweet on the front, some obviously the caramel stuff, maybe a little bit of the barrel char. And pretty much about the same on the palate with a great finish. Okay, so there's my introduction to all that. I will put in a little self-pagging on the back. If any of you guys visit Instagram, look up Pars and Pours. I've started that over there. We'll be certainly starting the YouTube channel shortly, but give it a shot. I've only put up 3 or 4 ones for you guys to check out. All right, let's go talk. Let's go to the top. Matt's in the house. Shot 9-hole round 38 Friday. Lost every way to my buddies. Tough competition. Quit. Well, let's see, Matt. You haven't golfed in almost 2 weeks because you're chasing the traveling team around. So that for a 38, that's pretty good. All right. When is the right time to change putters? Cheers. Congrats to Scotty Scheffler. Right time to change putters. I'd say that's more personal than it is anything else. Now, there are certain times when you can wear out a grip, so change the grip. There are certain times I've seen guys actually wear out a face on a putter. That is very far and few between. Okay, personally, I am a self-proclaimed putter snob. I've got 20 years I've been putting. I've got 2, 3, 4 putters. 4 putters, maybe 5. I might have 5, and the 5th one is an old Ping Anser that has never seen the light of grass. It's set in I bought it because I was putting poorly. I had a knee-jerk reaction. This was before I even got serious with golf. Went and got the thing, putted wonderful with it, put it in the bag, pulled out the old one, started putting even better with that, and that's where that putter's set for 15 years easy, and it's still sitting there. And then the other ones, I view every one of those as touch golf courses. The other part is, when would you do it? Well, again, if something medical happens where you get, down in the back, right? Down in the back would help. A stroke, just certain things that would prevent you from using it the way that you did before. The other one is, when would you change a putter? Is if you've never been fit and you're wondering why you can't putt, and then you go get fit and you find that that blade that you had from 1914 is not probably what you're looking for, and a nice, even like a jailbird or something like that, or even that Makefield is probably the way you want to go. All right. Tough to lose with a 38. There's Emmanuel. Still good score. I change putter every 2 rounds because I'm a putting disaster. Mallet, blade, mid-mallet, doesn't matter the neck. There's something to work on. There you go. And he's going to tell us he shot in the low 80s or something like that. 83 last week. New lit mini driver will be here Friday. Which one'd you get, Emmanuel? I got the 11 degree and the stiff. Hold on a second. I'll show you. I've been having so much. I've been having so much fun. So here it is. It's not even out of the plastic yet. I've hit it. So if you get a good look at this thing, it's got a kind of a look by the driver. It's got the weight port, so it can go into fade bias, draw bias, standard. It's got the typical OptiFit hosel on it, and this one's got the Denali in it, and I've got the 60-gram stiff flex, and it's 40, just shy of 44 inches long, which for me is perfect because I like that kind of stuff. Now look at here. Can you see it? That's where I've been hitting it. I've been hitting it like that off the deck, okay? Off the deck. So, Bob, you should be afraid now. I'm like right there. Right there. And so the shape on this thing is really, really quite nice. All right, let's see if we go like, there we go. You know, the thing is, it's a very tall face, which I really didn't think it would come like that. Normally when they do these things, I'm going to pull the paper off here for you guys. I would have thought that, well, I guess if you're going to make it a mini driver, you got to be taller. So here's a better look. How's that? Fresh off of the wrapper, right there. Nice face, right? And this is that. What are they calling it? The AI 10X face. So the AI 10X face, again, it's designed by AI, and it's got a lot. And what you see is they got a graphic of a whole bunch of green bubbles all over here. Basically, what they're trying to tell you is that they've redesigned this face to be more forgiving, be that fairway finder, which obviously is not sexy enough to sell a whole bunch of golf clubs, but it works. And then it's got the matted look on the top, which a lot of people like. And this one came with, and although I asked for something different, this is the Tour Velvet. You can tell I've been gripping on it. Look at that, just right where my fingers go. Just like that. That's kind of cool. All right, so that's where that one's at. Off the deck, I hit one 228, so 230 off the deck. But it ran a bit. So, and again, that's what happens when your swing comes back, right? Very cool. I was having a lot of fun. All right. Still a decent round there, I'd say. Oh, hello, Robin, and the rest of you global technicians here. Not a problem. Thank you. All right, John says, greetings, everyone, and fellow golfers from Myrtle Beach. Recently, about 2 months ago, switched to an arm lock putter and happy that I did, especially the short putts, 3-footers or so. Well, very cool. Glad you like it. All right, Charles, 82, 80, slow but steady. If it wasn't for the big numbers, I would have carded under 80. Got to work harder in keeping those big numbers off the card. Yeah, it wasn't Ledbetter that said that. Was the other guy, the other ex-Tiger Woods coach. He said you got to just avoid those double bogeys, right? Avoid the double bogeys for a good scorecard. It just gets better. Matt, do you feel it's time to try a new putter? If so, therein lies your answer. No, absolutely correct, Charlie. And Matt, if competition wasn't tough enough, it would be fun. They're right. You know, that's when Bob and I go out and we're on vacation. My goal is to at least win once. You know, because he gets a lot more playing time than I do, and he's got this miracle short game stuff going on. So, and if I practice, I might actually catch up, but I haven't practiced, so I got to temper my goals to be correct. There's Charlie. How you doing? Where are you shafting in that? We'll find out. Steven from Tennessee shot an 87 on a soaked course. Too many doubles. Then came back with a 79. Well, there's a heck of a swing. Still trying to figure out who that guy playing my Wilson staffs here on Sunday. Very good. 3 a.m. in the morning in the shower. Had to put shampoo in my hair. Power goes out. Pitch black. Like being on the boat wearing an EAB with tape over the face. Oh my! Did you? That was one of these. You start running around doing like that. Good thing you knew where you're at, and hopefully power came back on fairly rapidly. I can remember doing that. And when you had to, so what he's talking about, EAB, is emergency air breathing. And what it is, it's just basically a big giant scuba mask with an air tube that comes out of the bottom, and in some cases a regulator. And in strategic points around the submarine, you had the Chicago couplings or not Chicago couplings, the air couplings, and you would push into them like you would for an air tool in order to breathe. And so what you had on that regulator was another opening, so that if somebody was following you, they could find you and hook into that, and it's called buddy breathing. So, you could daisy chain this whole thing. So what you would do is you'd pick that one, take a couple of really deep breaths, and know exactly where that had to be. And that was one of the tests. They would blindfold you and tell you, okay, go around and touch all the ABs. And you said, to the point, they'd put you on that thing. And because once you take off air, and you get no more air. It's not like you can breathe through it. You got to actually go get some. And then you find it and you go. And I tell you what, first time around, you about fall down because you run out of oxygen. But after a few tries, it's old hat. And man, oh man, something else. Thomas Malinsky, what do you say? Hello, Jim and Rob from sunny and warm Sweden, 77. And without wind, which makes golf more fun. Well, there'd probably be a few here to disagree with you, but you know what? It does give you another added characteristic to the game. Thomas says, hello to everybody. Charlie says, regained power and discovered the fridge was not working properly. Had to tear into that so the food wouldn't spoil, iced over evaporator coil. Aha. Well, you should have just left it, either hit it with the hair dryer or just let it stay unplugged and keep the refrigerator closed. Probably would have came back. And if you got an iced over refrigerator coil, that's got some age, bud. Because I say that because nowadays with some of the limit switches they got, that's supposed to not happen. Matt says, thanks, guys. Chris Greenslade from sunny West England. It looks like it's sunny all over the world today. Sweden's got some sun. England's got some sun. We have some sun. I didn't have one to show you because it would all be absolutely bleached out. And Mrs. McGolf didn't want me showing her hobbling back and forth. So there you go. Look at that. Hit it with a heat gun, dried it out, put it back together. It's working now. What a start to the beginning of the week. There we go. See, he's got it going on. Hello, Chris from sunny West England. Welcome to the chat. Thank you, Charlie. Man, I got right there. Okay. Yeah, we got here Maxed Wired 223. There's a new one. I'm a golfer from Wisconsin. Got so excited you'd be doing my Wilson Dynaforge build. Ah, very cool. Yep. So Max here ordered up a set that looks just like mine. To an extent, we got to do a few things, and we're going to build some Dynaforged irons for him. I think that's going to be a good set. I really do. I'm looking at all my heads. All right. Yeah, I think we're going to have fun with that one. All right. Crease Green Sight. Charlie, took your advice last week and changed one grip to mid-size and now have done every one. Okay. See, a little bit of testing has never been a bad thing. To the point, we'll go over that. On my golf spy, I'm a participant there. And one of the questions was a gentleman was changing grips. And it was kind of experimenting, just like we were talking for Chris. We were experimenting, and he was worried about going to this very fat grip that it would impact swing weight. And, everybody's like, oh, yeah, swing weight this, swing weight that. And finally and a couple of them had seen some of my videos and referenced me in their video or in their comments. So I got on there and we talked about that, right? Grips are, Swing weight is a measurable characteristic of a golf club that's been around since the 30s. Okay, and it's become a standard because everybody's so used to it, they can relate what swing weight means when you say it. If you know what D means or C means or even E, right? We understand medium, heavy, light, that kind of stuff. However, swing weight can be tricked. Okay, I could give you a telephone pole, and I could put a big enough driver head on the end of it, and I could make a big, ginormous jumbo max and put it on here and make the thing weigh D2. Okay. Now, nobody's going to be able to swing this thing because it's going to weigh 40 pounds, literally. All right. So that's where we got to get real on this, is that total weight is a much, much more important factor. The overall weight comes into play with the balance of the club. All right. I've had golf clubs in here that had 70-gram driver shafts, and because they had these big grips on it, that the thing came in at a C8 or C9, which areas, oh, that's really light. Yeah, it's light in a measurement, but when you have it in a driver with all this weight here and some weight here, you pick it up and you go, wow, that's heavy. That must be a really high swing weight. No, it isn't. And so it is a perception, right? It becomes a perception. If that perception is good to you, then it's all good, regardless if it's B1 or E7, right? As long as it feels good and you're swinging it and you're making it around, there you go. So that's what we always say, before you go crazy and start throwing massive amounts of lead tape to it or pulling off grips, go play it, right? Go play it. Because most golfers probably wouldn't notice a 3 swing weight point change, which could be as much as 6 grams at the tip and twice that much at the grip. Okay. Now, that's not to say everybody's like that, and I've gotten very clever on this. There are some folks out there that have Edgar Allan Poe kind of sensitivity. If you haven't read, look it up, and they can sense different changes. Normally, that's in folks that are very, very accomplished. Not always, but most of the time. And again, on another forum on Facebook, the guy had listed all the different things, and it was a 2 from the highest to the lowest was a 2 swing weight point change, and that was only one club. The rest of the clubs were like 1 or less. Nobody's seeing that. All right, nobody. And he's like, oh, I felt it. Normally when you feel it is because you've seen it. All right, and you've seen it. And I'm not saying this guy didn't feel it. If you went like this and you went like this and you went, yep, this one's lighter, I could tell. But if I was to just hand you a golf club, tell you to go hit it, and you hit it, you go, wow, that felt pretty good. All right. And I toss you another one. You know, okay, this is pretty good. Yep. And all right, fine. And he tossed another one. I'm guessing chances are the person probably wouldn't have seen it. We get very, very sensitive when we see these numbers, right? So we got to be very, very careful about this. And again, I'm not saying the guy is incorrect that he could, but normally when people see something that small in a deviation, it's because they had a little help in foresight. All right, there we go. Rob's saying hi to Matt and Sally. Sorry, I had Emmanuel. Matt liked it because it was tough. And they say Quail Hollow is one of the toughest tracks out there. We got that one. Jesse Ross, why all of a sudden is everyone inquiring about the driver? That is because, Jesse, in the third round, Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler had they decided to test drivers on the PGA Tour, and they tested in the third round, and they found out Rory and Scotty's driver fell in the non-conforming category. And chances are what it was is it's called contact time. And I'm going to use this one. All right. So what they do is they'll take your driver, and it's a mini driver, and they will hold it into a rig like this. And then what they'll be doing is let's use this. There'll be almost like a trebuchet kind of setup where this right here is holding a sensor, and it measures time based on pressure. And what they'll do is they'll take this arm and they'll go way out to a given distance, and they will let it come in and hit it, and the amount of time it spends on there before it comes out is called contact time, and it's measured in microseconds. All right, microseconds. And I believe the actual full-on passing number is like 380 microseconds, 384 maybe. And if it's over that, if it's under that, that's what it is. If it's under that, means it's a hot driver. And you can't have a hot driver when you're playing for money and all that. That's the rules of golf. Now, does that mean that these guys knew it because they were playing it? And the answer is no. With the way that these guys play, what happens is after time, not every time, sometimes the drivers become hot. And so that's the reason why they're testing. And that's the long and the short of it. Now you hear all the guys. It's funny, the guys that were ex-players that were on Sirius XM, and I love their commentation. But man, they're very touchy about that stuff. And of course, it happens all the time. Okay, well then, the guy. They did their testing. They found it to be bad, and they changed him out and put him in drivers. No harm, no foul. Right? The foul would have been he goes, okay, thanks, and he actually put it back in the bag and went to play with it. That would have been a foul. And it turns out the funny part is that they're both TaylorMades. So I don't know what that means. All righty. Charlie's telling Stephen hi. Matt's saying Sally's taking a nap. Very tough day. Charlie's saying hi. Robin's saying hi back. Matt, totally understand. I took one earlier. Jim might tell you all. She not only took one, she took several. Don't let her kid you. But she's taking it like a trooper. Last couple of days, so they give you that oxycodone stuff, in which we've been kind of metering this at best, and every time she takes it, it's time for a nap. That's fine, and but she hasn't taken one for a solid 24 hours. So we're outside of that, and it's just Advil and Tylenols now. Jesse's saying hello. Thomas Molinsky, Quail Hollow, and the wind is perfect. There we go. No doubt. Robin saying hello again. There we go. And it's Michael. Yep. We got you, buddy. Michael, yep, that's it. All right. Jim, as for the grip, could you use a needle to put solvent in to loosen the grip? That's exactly what I intend to do, Jesse. I've got a pressurized needle that I got from GolfWorks years ago. I keep buying new needles because the tip is very delicate. It's very, very sharp, but very, very delicate. And when I normally wreck them is when I'm doing these. When I do rubber grips, I can do them all day long. Because of this, there's two layers: that the synthetic piece, and then the underlisting. That underlisting gets me every time. I put a T in the back of the grip when I install it and take it out when almost all the way on. That's another way, right? Just as long as all you're doing is just saving solvent from spraying out everywhere. I mean, eventually it'll come out of the front, which I'd much rather go out the front than hit me out and squirt all over me on my front, right? Wow. Okay. John Lamb, Charles Burnett, big numbers, Charlie. It's easy. Use the eraser. If you had to take off that grip, would you still be able to use it again? If I was able to blow it off, John, yes. A lot of cases, and I'm really not a fan of doing that, but I do. And if you blow them off, of course, you've made the grip bigger blowing it off because you see the bubble of solvent run down the grip, not necessarily maybe on something like this, but maybe on something like that, right? And what I tend to do is when I blow them off, I let them rest a day and come back. And that tends to work out when they kind of dry out. If they don't, they tend to be bigger. And what I end up doing is I'll put just one extra layer of tape underneath there. It doesn't jack with the size all that much, but it makes it more secure for the grip. No, it wasn't. Actually, it was a Wilson staff. That Wilson staff ball is something else. It's actually performing very, very well. The other one that's been a surprise, and if you guys run across them, is the new Mizuno ball. They got an S and an X, and boy, oh boy, those things work pretty good. Ram saying hello. Charles, that was a Callaway. Yep, I wish, but nope. Wilson, it's just rolling around in here. See, I got another one right here. I don't know why they're sitting up here. Yeah. Staff ball. Wilson. I'll tell you if you could read it. There you go. It's just a regular model. It's not the X ball or anything. There we go. There's another one. There we go. All righty. Max Wire says nothing like experienced golf club or taking tips. Yeah, or talking tips. Well, the funny part about this, Michael, is that normally we're experienced because, what do they say? Wisdom comes from experience, and experience comes from making mistakes. Yeah, there we go. John says, Matt, what is this, John? We got in here. Brogy? I can't read the whole thing. I'm sure it's going to be funny. Very nice round your buds must shot lights put. You got it. So, John, when these guys go out, you might as well just stay back and just get in the vacuum of these guys playing, because they'll all play to plus handicaps, every last one of them. Matt Callaway makes some nice putters. I'm using Odyssey 1 milled. He's actually using one as well. He's using if memory serves, he's using a Model 7 when they were red. Okay, when they're red. Now, actually, Matt, they were talking about it. They weren't available when yours were being built. Of course, we had to make it pretty long. But now these cruiser putters might be what you're looking for. They're already 38 inches. They got a nice big grip on them, and we can bend it to the right thing. That might be something to consider. Yes, they can play. Yeah, you should hear some of the stories. I extended 2 old ping putters. Let's see what happens. They go ping. Those are nice. They're very annoying, but they are a lot of fun. Just keep moving. She is. She does a pretty good job. I'll give her that one. I'm still looking for her. Where'd she go? Oh, she's in the comfy chair. Yep, she'll sit there for a while, put some ice on it, and then get up and move around. So, our back porch is where our bays used to be, so that's like 100 foot long. And then another outdoor bay is 150 foot long. So what she'll do is she'll go all the way out to the bays, come all the way back in. When your knee is hurting and just been operated on, that's like a mile-long walk. And today she went out to go get the mail. And the mail is a good hike. It's not as the crow flies, but as you walk, it's probably 80 to 100 yards. And of course over gravel. She went out there fine. Coming back was a little bit of a strain. Not old, you mean young? No, I mean old. Phil K says, happy Monday from Austin. Glad your back is better. It's tough sitting out. Yeah, well, of course, was I sitting out? No, I probably should have. That I was just basically when I figured it out, I was just flipping the club, just doing one of those in order to, in my swing was finishing like this. And I caught it out corner of my eye when I was hitting either one of the hybrids, that I was totally extended all the way out, finishing up. And how did I recognize that? Because I saw my hands. I haven't seen my hands that far out in I don't know when. And it just feels so much. The other part is it's easier. That's why I try when we do these fittings. I get some newbies in here, and I take them through the basics, the stance, the grip, the follow through, that kind of stuff. And it is amazing how much easier it is to golf basically the right way. It doesn't hurt your back. Everything is fluid. You don't have to get all like that. It's so much fun to be able to just let it rip. And I can't even say much more than that. Thomas said something in Swedish, and I have no idea what that is. Thanks, she's trying. Yep. It's for all the years of picking balls by hand. Oh, it is not. He had that wonderful frozen ground to walk on. Did that single barrel evaporate quickly? Yes. I only had the one. It's really quite tasty. We've been finding these different, it's fun to find these new companies out there. I'm not chasing them all down, but I ran into these guys. Just a small farm, 2,700 acres, doing it their way, and it's pretty good. Now I will say this: I was gonna go down this path, but I decided I wasn't going to. But now you brought me there. If you ever heard of a company called Old Commonwealth, and there's again they'll mail it out to you, and it's called D.H. Cromwell, and we went and looked it up, and it's short for Dirty Helen. And the DH short for Dirty Helen. Well, there's a book called Good Time Party Girl that Robin read, and it's about this lady named Helen, and it was Cromwell, and how she worked in Chicago during the era of Capone, and how she treated people, and just has this rough and tumble, very interesting background. And when she first started out, she was running a place called the Sunflower, and she only served like two kinds of liquor, Scotch, and at the beginning it was that McBrayer, that stuff I was showing you. It was called Bottled and Bond. Back in the day, McBrayer was a very, very popular thing. Well, time goes on, she moves to another place and decides that she's only going to serve Fitzgerald at this time, Old Fitzgerald. And Pappy Van Winkle, Julian Van Winkle, gets a hold of her and says, "Here, I hear you're doing this." Yep, and flies her down for a conference. So the stories are just cool, So that's what she's doing. Okay. Hope you get to feeling better, Robin. Yep. Robin saying hello, saying thank you. John says, "Hey, Jim and Robin, hope you're both healing quite nicely and rapidly. Yep. I take it they scoped your knee, Robin, just recovery or easy recovery. Just do the exercises they want you to do and be back to normal soon." Yeah, basically what they told her, because it's only been 5 days. They said, don't overdo it. Do some walking, but don't overdo it. And that's what she's doing. And then in about the wraps come off tomorrow, and then she can, do it as much walking as necessary. Hello from Myrtle Beach. Played Friday, Saturday. 74-74. Woo! Hot weather is there and doing well. Good for you, Peter. That is awesome. You're going to have to get you're going to have to start giving strokes, man. You keep playing like that. Huh. John Lamb says, had both done numerous times, way too much football my glory days. Now I have a bionic one. Very good. Says John, yes, scope. They didn't send any home. Maybe you'll have a spot back in 2 weeks. Maybe. Phil K about putters. A friend uses what looks to be a Peter Pan putter. That was his dad's. His shaft broke, so he bought a metal tube from Home Depot and forced it on. Still putts well. Wow. That is a guy that's Johnny on the spot right there. Well, but if it works, hey. And I don't think there's no rules of golf on what as long as the shaft is circular and you get it on there, hey, it could be a piece of PVC. Charlie says, good rounds, Peter, and they are. Prospector Pete says, hey, all. Hey, and I see that you got that Armored Cavalry just from another military guy to military. Green River just released a bourbon that has got the Navy or the Army symbols on the front. If you were interested, celebrating 250 years. Of course, I can't own it. It would burn up in my house, but you know. Hello, Prospector Pete. Manuel got the 13 and a half with a strong, with a green dot cog. You go, man. I was wondering if they still had those things. I like those. Wayne Nothing. Jim and I had total knee replacement 2 years ago. I was 72. Totally worth it. I hobbled for years. My wife finally talked me into it, bit the bullet. Glad you did. Good. I've heard guys, I've watched guys go through knee replacements, and I've had, it's been across the board, right? You get one done, you're like, wow, I'm so glad I did that. They ran back and got the other one done. I've had others do them both at the same time. I think they may have regretted that decision, but they got through it. And then I have other ones that did it, and it was so painful, they said they would never, ever, never, ever, ever go get it done. I think that all has to do with the doctor more than anything else. Way it went in, who knows? But yeah, normally what I've seen is that they'll take you to the very end of you being able to walk on it, then they'll replace it, because if you do it too young, you'll do it again. John Lamb, anyone else have their swing disappear mid-round? Yes. I think I was starting to look like that old I want more distance headset. Really have to nullify that somehow. Hey, John. I think that when we go down there and play on vacation, that happens to me at least once a round. Typically the very, very last one too. And I just get so disgusted with myself. But yep, I'm in that club. All right. Is the image backwards? It looks like a right-handed glove. Nope, it's a lefty. All my stuff is lefty, because why? Well, hold on. That's a lefty club. That's a righty club. Robin brought me one too for show and tell. John Lamb, what do they call that? Playing within ourselves. Very much so, sir. Very much so. I don't know if that's appropriate comment in mixed company. There we go. That's within, not with. There you go. So now we've learned something today, class. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Scowl is cheers, or scale. Not bad. Okay. Charlie and John. Max says, anybody use brush teas in their thoughts? Well, you know what? I still have some hanging on my wall, Michael. The orange and I believe the yellow. I used them for a while, and they did what they say they do. They did. For me, because of the way that I go into the ball, after I don't know, handful of rounds, the brushes started coming out, and it stopped holding it very well. Now again, I bring Bob up. Bob played them for the longest while, and he could go through one, maybe two in an entire season, just the way that he hit them. The only thing is he refused to put it back in that hole, and he put it in his pocket, and it would mangle up the thing, so he'd have to kind of work it over a little bit. Look at that. And she's right. She had the yellow one. I don't know if there was a bigger one. Absolutely killed it. Will, what are you saying? Playing ZX7s, but hit the Cobra King Tour more consistently. Should I get lessons and stick with gamers, or do some soul designs that intrinsically suit people better? Thanks. Okay, so well, as we know, is Strixons, the ZX, they have prescribed to the V-Soul design, right? And what it really is more like this than it is like that. You get the flat of the sole, and keep in mind that the 7's only about this wide, so about that much of it is V'd, so it's very small. So one could say that the sole on the 7 is maybe a little too narrow, particularly if you are taking a divot, right? You could say it's a little too narrow. But the whole idea is that the back end of that thing is supposed to engage when you get into the turf to help you get out. But however, it's still a very narrow sole, right? So it's not for Jasper Parnevik divot taking kinds of things. Where the King Tour is more of a traditional sole, it's radiused, right? And it's not, again, it's not very wide, just a different way of getting into the turf. The other thing I would look at, Will, is to make sure that everything else is identical, right? Same length, same loft, same lie, same weight, same grip, same everything before we start blaming the sole design. But I am a big fan of having the proper sole into the golf club, right? Because if you're hitting diggers with the sevens and you're not with the King Tours, then yeah, King Tours all day long. If you're striking the ball well and you're just clipping the grass, then that could be something inherently different, meaning that in my aspect that the sevens tend to torque a little bit more than what maybe the Kings would, and that might be it as well. Alan Zwicker. When in between the stiff flex and an extra stiff flex driver, if numbers are similar, aside from the spin rate, what stat category and TrackMan are you looking to sway your decision? Okay. This is actually a really good question. If you're in between. So typically what happens is you'll measure, you'll take your swing, whoosh, and it goes 107 mile an hour. And if you look and you say, well, you need 110 mile an hour swing for consider X flex, and above 105 is just a really stout stiff flex. That's just in swing. The next one is, how's the guy taking it back? How's he pulling down? How's he getting through? All that kind of stuff. And if you're really torquing the club, if you're really torquing the club, then going up, if you're really torquing the club, then going up into the flex will probably make you more consistent. Okay. Now, when you get up into the higher flex, the spin number should come down a little bit. Okay. I'm not going to say magically 1,000 RPMs, but maybe a couple hundred. Okay. Should come down for that. So the next thing I would be looking at is, where's it landing? Right? There's two things I would be looking at. Number one is, where's it landing? Is it landing like this or is it landing like that? Whatever's landing like this wins. Right? It does. The rest of it's out to lunch. The other one is that acceleration profile. If you go back and you actually look at that last video I just put out on the hybrids, I go over as an acceleration profile. And what I'm looking for is an acceleration that's allowing you to accelerate through the golf ball and not have what I call a fish hook, and meaning that you've stopped and you're still going through the ball, but the acceleration has slowed down. I tend to gravitate towards that. So if all things created equal, if it's all the same distances, spin rate, yeah. But where are they landing? Are they both landing in a tight pattern? Right? Which one can you control better? Because normally, and I won't say it again, shafts are a million of them out there. If you went extra stiff, chances are it's probably a little bit heavier, and that can cause that could make you more consistent depending on how you swing. Then, if that's not it, then I would go back and see, how's the shaft reacting to you. If it's reacting better, that's the one I would pick. All right. Jesse, old pro Burt Green swung an E9, and I couldn't even pick it up. Yeah, I mean, some of those guys back in the day, the metal shafts, wooden heads, or even back in the E9, it's just crazy how much heavyweight that is. All right, John Lamb, swing at versus total rate. I tend to lean more towards weight as it does make a difference. at the end of the round, and tired factor, swing weight will give you feel. 100%. 100%. There's my buddy Bob. He says, hi, Jim Robin. New driver. Are you getting rid of the 2 hybrid? Absolutely not, dude. If anything, I'd be getting rid of the driver. We're going to see. We're going to see. Yep, Bob's coming over for his birthday, and we're having kebabs for Bob. So that would be fun. Ken Gerard, how are you doing, buddy? What was with Scotty's and Corey's drivers? Well, we talked about that, and it basically they did a real quick check, and that was the beauty of contact time and the rig that they hold it up into. They measured it and found them to be illegal. Now, if you listen to a lot of them, can they be legal and somehow turn illegal over time? The answer is yes. I'm sure that can happen. Do drivers get checked prior to being sent out? No, they do not. Why? Because the original models were checked, and if they passed and you use the exact same manufacturing process, then why would they be out? Now, would it be smart for them if they're, now these are people playing for millions of dollars. The company's got millions of dollars invested into these players and their equipments and the trucks that they're driving around and the people are doing it. And I'm here to tell you, they got drawers and drawers of these things. Would it be so hard to measure them all to ensure that? No. But if it's not needed, then don't, it's like poking the bear. Don't do it. All right. The pros hit the center of the face, and the driver fairly regularly tends to change the metal in the face due to previous strikes, making it non-conforming. Like we were talking. My dog Rax says, hit those thumbs up, boys and girls. Appreciate that one. I didn't say that today, so here we go. If you would, like, subscribe, hit that stuff across the bottom so more of this information gets out. Robin saying, hello. Stopped 1 a day heavy drugs Saturday night. There we go. All righty, what do you get? Peter, bought a Callaway Elite Titanium 3-wood. Have to say it comes off the club head like a rocket. Yep. Probably get 20. Whoa! With the Newton in it, huh? Very cool. They say that thing's a rocket sled. They really do. So now we have proof. And Peter's got himself an Elite Titanium 3-wood, and it's getting him a club and a half to 2 clubs. That's saying something right there. It says Brogy. That's when you make an 8 and your bros put you down for a bogey. Okay. Very good. I knew it would be funny. Oh. Hey, Romy Rida? Okay. Does anyone know if TSA allows you to bring just a driver's shaft in the cabin on a flight? I want to bring it overseas. I don't trust anyone. I don't trust buying one there. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if they allow it in the cabin or not. You'd have to ask them, because it's the odd shaped size. It'd have to go into the place into the front, and you would probably be better off if you had it in a tube, right? And so that it didn't look like a golf shaft, so it didn't look like you were trying to carry a weapon. And put it in a tube and say, how do I bring this into the cabin? And because it's small, it made to be very, very unobtrusive. It's been ages since I've flown, but I would think that if you ask them far enough in advance, they could tell you. Hello. Prospector Pete, did you have a knee replacement? Nope, just 2 meniscus tears. There we go. So, Robin, does that mean you had 2 tears in your meniscus or a tear in each knee? I don't know knee anatomy. 1 on each side, buddy. She had 1 on each side of one knee. Hey, here we go. Mr. Three Putt. Hello from Texas. Played in a four-man scramble shot -2. My daughter's team got second with a -9 proud dad moment. Very cool. Well done. At least you didn't say -27 or whatever that not some of those guys are pulling in. The camera is backwards. Only one case, man. Only one case. Bob Lent, there he is. Hot tip on knee replacements because he's had them both done. Do the rehab. No excuses, whether it hurts or not. That's no kidding. Had 2 tears, same knee, one on each side of the knee. Yep. Bob, maybe you can give me some exercises. They didn't give her any yet. They're waiting for it to heal a little bit more. There you go. Mick Fly says, I would do a ZX57 combo set. Yeah, those are, as far as combo sets go, that's probably pretty good as long as you really like that golf club. Srixon has a really good feeling iron, to be sure. In the upper end, that 5 is very wide. It's much wider than the 7 is. So you're going to be playing those things like really far clubs. 4, 5, maybe the 6, and then on down would be the other ones. Hello, good afternoon. Any advice for drills for who one hits down on the ball with the driver? I tell you what I'd tell people, McFly, is that in order to do this, is that you have to tee. And here I threw those doggone balls. I got a few more. Tee the ball down. And what I mean by that is, so what normally happens when you hit down on the driver, right? Just so happens I have a mini driver. So what happens here is, if you tee the ball up, we'll use this. Oh, look at here. This is going to work out good. So if you get right here, and normally people want to align the equator of the ball with basically the top of the crown, right? Top of the crown. All right. But when you swing, with the idea that when you swing, you're going to come through and you're going to catch this thing on the up. And when it's not going to be here anymore, you're going to be here on the face. Well, those of us who chop wood, when they go to do that, they come by and it still stays down and it comes through like that. And so now you're hitting on more of the top and sometimes goose egging the top of the driver. That's not good because it flaps really high in the air and your wedges go further. Or you hit them really high, they got so much spin on them that they fall out of the sky. We call them dead ducks. And so what you do is, for the time being, is that you tee it down as low as you possibly can so that when you come down into it, you're actually hitting into the good part of the club or ball and the club, and it takes off into the right direction. Now, does that help your swing? Not immediately, but it will help you golf better. The spin rates come down, okay? And then when you go to do this, you can actually use a lower lofted club because you're hitting it here, which is the highest loft of this particular club. So if you're a 10-5 guy, you could literally probably go get you a 9 and do it and hit it right here, okay? And that would get you going. Now, what happens there? What happens is you're going to see it, and what's going to happen eventually, your swing will shallow out, okay? And then you're going to know when you shallow it out, when you have the ball, the ball teed down, and all of a sudden you start hitting line drives. You're not going up like this anymore. You're hitting line drives, and now you're actually hitting into the bottom of the club, very much like I showed you guys at the beginning on the plastic. What I was doing there, you hit the bottom of the club. All of a sudden, it's time for that ball to start coming up, and just do it in quarter-inch increments, and raise it up, and eventually you'll find yourself into a really good spot. Because it forces you to swing down and through. You chop down through it, you're going to hit the dirt. So by literally surviving, survivor-type styling, that's how you can get through. At least that's what I tell folks. Okay. Next wire, we'll be replacing Hogan Apex FTX with Wilson's that you're building for me. They had Apex 4 shafts and S. Any idea their profile as manufacturer? I learned to play with Hogan radials. As a whole, they will always say no, but Apex 4s, even in the day, were really stiff dynamic golds. Okay. They said, no, they're not dynamic golds. Basically, I think what they really were was 1 or 2 hard-stepped dynamic golds. All right. Or something in that same kind of a profile. So if you like that, that's where that would come from. Okay. But that's what was in there. Used to bring my driver on board when I flew, but they put it in the cabinet up front. See, there you go. He says, thanks for the pro. I'll try that and update the next trip overseas. That'd be cool. I'd like to hear that. All righty, look at that. We got down to the bottom. All righty then. Oh, we got here. It says, Jesse, thanks for the info. With so many fake clubs and shafts in Asia, I have to bring the real thing and real thing I purchased here in the U.S. There we go. Okay. And that's true, too. He's not lying. All righty. So, again, guys, thank you for stopping by from around the world now, right? We had Asia now. We've got Sweden. We got the UK. We got all over the U.S. Perfect, right? Absolutely great. It was a good round. And so it was all there. So, again, if you haven't done it already, like, subscribe. And if you haven't gone to see it and you want to see a comparison and what the new programs look like, go back and watch it. And it says, which would you choose? It's or Callaway versus Wilson or Wilson versus Callaway. And check it out. And I appreciate it if you would. And again, guys, as always, let's see your scores go low.